Welcome back, everybody, to the Centimetre Perfect AFL podcast, Just the Tips Show. I'm Liam, that is Jesse, and we are talking today about round 13 coming up in the AFL. You can find us at CMPerfect_AFL on Insta, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and no, that's all of them. For the main show.
Can you find us on Roku?
Yeah, you can find us on Crunchyroll, Roku, all the places you find your favorite shows. It's going to be there, I'm sure.
Are we on before or after the Impractical Jokers?
Hopefully just before and after, with the lead in and the lead out, which always is a ratings boost.
So the Impractical Jokers like the piss break then.
That's right. That's right. Of course,
as it should be.
Jesse, interesting old round of football last week. How are you feeling coming into round 13? Some tricky ones to tip this week.
Yeah, I'm both nervous and already bored for a couple of these games. Like I'm preemptively bored for a couple of these games. But so hopefully the sides that I have expectations through the floor can magically decide to actually participate in football this week.
Fingers crossed.
There's a couple of games that will be difficult to sit through, I think, unless you're a supporter of the club, in which case still probably will be difficult to sit through. But a couple of really good games, I think, bookending the round and sprinkled in throughout to keep us on our toes.
100%, Jesse. Now, here on Just the Tips, we don't use the regular tipping system. We use the confidence points system. Jesse, tell people what that is, please.
So confidence points are our way to diversify our football tipping throughout the season. Instead of assigning 1 point per tip, we scale out. So 8 points this week for our team that we are most confident in winning, all the way down to 1 in the team that we are least confident in winning, but still think we'll get the job done. Whoever has the most points, not necessarily correct tips, at the end of the season will be declared the Centimetre Perfect AFL podcast tipping champion. Now, Liam, I've held a lead for the last few weeks now after a big swing about a month ago, but this was a tough round because we tipped pretty similarly throughout. How did it all end up with the points?
Well, thankfully for me, Jesse, I'm chipping away at that lead just a smidge, because last round I got 23 points to your 21, taking me to 300.
2 weeks in a row?
2 weeks in a row, 316 for me, 323 for you, and that was basically on the back of that GWS scrape across the line, because I had 6 points, you had 2 points.
Yes.
That helped me out quite a bit, and it would have been a disaster if it had gone the other way. So I'm happy the Giants got up there. So no, I'm clawing away. Back, I think it was 12 down. Now back down to, how does math work? 7. Here we go.
So yeah, 3 last week, 2 this week. Not
Beautiful.
bad.
Love that. Let's see if I can do it again. Let's move into the first game of the round.
Western Bulldogs hosting Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium. 2 teams that want to be stamping their credentials as higher-end finals aspirants throughout the season. But some patchy form from both sides. Dogs seem to get their heebie-jeebies out of the way early in the season. Hawthorn currently going through their heebie-jeebies at the moment. Now, Liam, you are winner again.
Yes.
So that means I have to choose, which I'm not really used to doing. I'm just used to leading in.
I could tell. I could tell because you were like, you are the winner.
What? Look, even games, I'll just start smashing through them. I'm going Western Bulldogs with 4 points here. It could be a bit of a mugging against the Hawks, which is a worry for them. This is not the team you want to be playing coming off 3 losses in the bounce while they're finding their form. The Dogs can play some excellent football. They'll benefit from the bye. I think they'll be disappointed with their loss to the Cats prior. Dust it off, get through the bye, and then come back here and get the job done. Liam, what about you?
I too have got the Bulldogs, just with a 3. I think this has the potential to be a very close game. I think the Hawks are going to want to bounce back pretty strongly. The Dogs as well, but obviously having that extra bit of time off to relax the legs a little bit should see them through. Although sometimes having that bye, teams don't usually come back off the bye that good, so we'll see how we rock and roll. But no, I think the Bulldogs in with 3 in what should be a bit of an all right match, I'd say, Jesse. Let's move on. I hope so too. Let's move on to Friday.
Friday night footy. Now, this promises to be a good game of footy. Adelaide hosting Brisbane at the Adelaide Oval. This, alphabetically, is very significant. It's the first 2 teams in the AFL list, but it is also very significant by ladder position. Both sides in excellent form. Only 1 loss, respectively, in their last 5, Liam, but that makes it a bit tough to pick here with 2 white-hot form teams. How are you dissecting this and assigning points?
I am going to tip Adelaide at home with 4 confidence points. I think Adelaide are showing signs of being a threat every single week at the moment. With the Lions, even their wins, obviously they're doing very well in the wins column, but I feel like a lot of their wins have been kind of unconvincing. So it'll be interesting to see what they're like when they come up against an outfit like the Crows at home. It's gonna be a big challenge for the Lions, I think, if anything. Obviously for the Crows as well. But I like the Crows at the moment, and I think they can get the job done. Jesse.
I agree. Crows with 3 for me, so just swapping our previous tip basically in terms of points allocation. Adelaide was the right place for the Crows to win this game. They've been playing that very well. This is difficult for the Lions, I think, because they've been a bit patchy. They almost lost to Essendon. They drew with North all within the last month. They'll need to be at their best to beat this Adelaide side across all facets of the ground. They can't just shut down the Crows forward line because they've got goal-kicking mids too. So they'll be playing, I think, a lot of defense in this game. That presents a bit of risk, and they'll need to make sure every opportunity at the other end is taken if they want to get the result. So I'm leaning with the Crows here.
Fair shout. Let's move on to Saturday.
Richmond hosting Sydney at the MCG. Two sides find themselves in the bottom reaches of the ladder. I'm up first here. Tigers with 6 for me. I struggle to find any reason to tip the Swans here. This matchup last year, Richmond won pretty well. Last week, one side was horrific. One side was very good. You could really extrapolate that. I know that on the form table, Sydney have had more wins, but I actually think the Tigers have been playing better football. The simple reality is Sydney don't offer anything close to a winning game style at the moment, whereas the Tigers have gears that can win them games. I think that's your key difference here, and I think the Tigers can get this job done.
I've got the Tigers only with 2, so this is going to be a big one. I think looking down the list, I can see where we might differ in our points later on down the line. But Tigers with 2, I think they are playing some very good football, but they still can succumb to that late game fade out. Not to say that Swans can capitalize on that, which is why I've tipped the Tigers. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, I think, for Sydney. This is a game that realistically could see them get back onto build a little bit of confidence, a little bit of momentum, but I just don't think they are good enough to do that.
They loses their 4-9, same with Richmond.
Yeah, that's they are too. Wowee. I mean, look, realistically, they probably could have been there already. Richmond really should have won last week. Yeah. But hey, them's the break sometimes in footy. But no, we'll see how we go. Let's move on to the next game, Jesse.
Down at GMHBA Stadium, it is Geelong hosting the Suns. Another, I'll call this a pseudo top 4 clash because obviously the Cats are currently in 5th, but you think about top 4 sides this season when you look at these two teams. Liam, you're up first here. Difficult one to separate. How are you allocating your points out for this?
I think that there'll be a bit of a switch in the ladder after this, Jesse. I think the Cats will get this job done over the Suns. My point differentials this week were difficult, but I've got them with 7. So, yeah, I know. Call me crazy. It's fine. I don't know about the Suns. Like, I know obviously they're a very good team this year. They're very, very well set for how they're gone. But I feel like they're in line for a bit of a lull. I think the Freo game was the start of that lull. And going down to GMHBA is never an easy task for any team. And the Cats are obviously flying at the moment. Obviously 4 out of the last 5. They're looking very good. 7 might be a bit high, but I can't change it now. It's in the books. What are your thoughts, Jesse?
Cats with 5 for me. I'm going.
Wasn't it that different? You made it sound like I'd gone crazy. It's not even that different.
That end of scale. It's a graph. It gets more extreme the further up you go.
Sure.
No, look, I agree with what you're saying. I think this is a danger game for the Suns in terms of getting down onto a slippery slope. They need to win this. It's not like a Hawthorn where you can brush it off. They need to keep winning games. It's just the nature of this list. It's the nature of where they are as a football club. They've just got to get wins on the board. The Cats, I think they'll be quite disappointed with how their trip west went in reality. I mean, they were in real danger for 3 quarters against the significantly worse side in the competition based on ladder position and points so far this season. They'll be disappointed with that. I think they might have a bit of a point to prove, and that leaves the Suns in a bit of a precarious position if they can't execute the game plan as they would like.
Good shout. Let's move on to the next one.
GWS hosting Port Adelaide at Manuka Oval. This is a difficult one, I thought, coming in, because neither side is setting the world on fire, although one has 3 more wins than the other. This is my 7-point game, Liam, for the Giants this time. I'm just looking at Port and thinking, where is the fight in this football club at the moment? They are limp as a football club. they're like the mannequin that's been discarded on the side of the road during illegal dumping season that the councillors come and pick up and drag away, except the mannequin is just Ken Hinkley's coaching career. And, it was probably disassembled years ago and left in storage. But the department store manager, whose name definitely isn't David Koch, just wouldn't throw him out. And now he's said, okay, well, this is getting a bit ridiculous now. So into the illegal dumping reserve you go. And now the council's saying, well, we better come pick you up. And they're coming to pick you up in their Josh car. As for the Giants, I get the sense that they need to win this pretty emphatically after the way last week went. They do play Canberra pretty well, which is a tick for them. I think they'll appreciate going back there. Need to make a big statement here. It gets a very disappointing point outside. If they lose this and slip into, well, they won't slip into ninth unless they get absolutely obliterated. But you could almost make a de facto top 8, not including them, if they can barely beat Richmond and lose to Port.
Yeah. Not much to add, Jesse. I've Giants with 5. You've said it all. I can't top that. And thank you for giving me the Instagram clip for this week. I do appreciate it. Very good. Let's
make sure you tag Compare the Market so Koshy sees it.
Okay. Well, I will do.
You should do Compare the Coach.
Compare the Coach. Okay, so Ken said as soon as it's the Power cannot make finals anymore, he'll step away. So realistically speaking, this should
is that a mathematical thing or a form thing? Because if it's mathematical, it's probably got another month and a half. True. But if it's form, that's over. 2
weeks ago. Yeah. All right, let's move on, Jesse, to the next game.
Down at Hands Oval in Bunbury. Great to see. Yes, they are your hands, Liam. Great to see football making its way into the regions. North Melbourne hosting West Coast in Bunbury. That's a weird sentence to say out loud. Spoon Bowl with a twist here. Both sides down in the doldrums. North with 10 premiership points. West Coast with 4. Liam, how have you assigned your points here? Because this is an interesting one down in the southwest region of WA.
It is. And it's one of those games where if the Eagles can bring the kind of footy they brought against the Cats, then they should win this quite handsomely. But then again, when you have a team, when you play against a team who's kind of around your area in terms of skill and ladder position, you tend to change how you play just a smidge. That said, I have gone the Eagles. I've gone the Eagles with 1 because this for me is an absolute coin toss. This could literally go either way. I think the Eagles would like to win this, even though it's a Kangas home game. Obviously, there's going to be a large Eagles contingent at the game. Just a nice little windfall financially for the Kangas. Jesse, what are your thoughts?
I'm the same as you in terms of points. Eagles with 1. I really hope that this Geelong result, even though it fell apart at the end, is a corner turn moment for West Coast, because we've been looking for one for probably about 3 years now in terms of when can we start to say that there is light at the end of this rebuild tunnel, because it's been pitch black for a while now, and that's to the detriment of the competition. I'm more sitting this on hope for West Coast, really, that they can go and turn this around, because it's been very difficult seeing one club, and North have been down there with them for periods, but this season it's been a case of they are very much detached from everyone else, and the stark contrast between their worst and even clubs like North Melbourne's worst has been night and day. North will be really pleased with their form recently. You've got a tick, I think that was a draw against Brisbane in that form table for them, but they've been getting results. They've been doing okay in that regard. They need to win this game, but I think West Coast, I know it's not their home game, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
I think they can make Bunbury a little bit of a success for them, and North selling these games to WA clubs, while it makes sense financially, you're putting yourself at real risk of dropping points on a consistent basis.
Yeah, I mean, they got Freo at Optus next week, in 2 weeks. Weird. All right, well, it will be next week by the time this game happens.
Yes.
I was right the first time. Let's move on, Jesse. Second last game.
Do I have to?
You have to.
Okay. Carlton host Essendon at the MCG. Neither side is setting the world on fire in terms of football quality or interest levels, but I did suggest when these two sides play, 40 Winks should step in and provide some sponsorship. So we're going to call this the 40 Winks Cup.
Okay.
Because I'm going to feel like I'm age 40 by the time I watch this.
Hey.
And is it a night game? I think it's a night game, isn't it?
It would be, because I think Monday's a public holiday. So
thank the Lord for that. If I watched this during the day, I'd be having an afternoon nap. I'm up first here. I've gone Carlton with 2. I didn't really want to. I actually asked Liam if we could do no tips for this game and just move on. Because neither side are very good at the moment. And it's a detriment because both clubs are enormous, and we want these two clubs to be doing well. But there's just nothing here at the moment for these sides. Carlton have a better list. Bombers have a better coach. I think slightly better form for Essendon at the moment, and they can take some buoyancy out of last week. But I don't think they're very good. And Carlton have played better on their good days than the Bombers have. So I'm almost relying on Carlton having a good day here, but Carlton have had probably 2 of those and picked up some freebies against bad sides. That's a worry, but I've gone Carlton with 2, Liam. What have you done?
Yeah, no, I've got a lot more on Carlton because that's how my points. This is the one I was at the start of the episode. I was like, I don't know if I should do this. Yeah, it's in the books now. I've got Carlton with 6. I don't really believe Carlton with 6, but hey, vibes. We'll bring the vibes back for this one. It's the vibe count.
This is the anti-vibe.
This
is the 40 Wings Cup. This is the definition of anti-vibes.
Look, Carlton, like you said, Carlton have a better list. Carlton should be winning this game.
Yes.
But the Bombers have been competitive against a lot of really much better teams recently. So, I mean, realistically, if I was going to check...
I just can't shake those games against like the West Coast out of my mind for Essendon.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, the same with the Blues, though. So, honestly, it's going to be a case of I'm just hoping for the best and hope for the Blues win. If they don't... Well, shit. Let's move on to the last game of the round, Jesse. The Big Freeze.
The Big Freeze. Melbourne hosting Collingwood in a significant game for more reasons than just on field. It's always a fantastic cause to see celebrities, past players, and I guess the general public alike in terms of the things they can do in terms of getting a beanie and sponsoring or supporting the cause or getting around it. Such an important game. On field, though, this has produced some cracking contests in the last kind of decade or so. I don't know if we're going to see one here, though, Lem. I find this a little bit hard. What about you?
No, I didn't find this one hard at all. I think it's a nice. I think these games, kind of the charity games, the games for a cause, always tend to bring out a bit of a closer contest potentially. But this year, it's the Magpies, yes, and the Magpies are pretty bloody good, and they're playing the Demons, who are not.
Who were Melbourne.
They're the Narm Demons. They're okay sometimes. Most of the times, no. Collingwood with
21 points last week.
That's it. You can sometimes win games like that. Collingwood with 8 for me. I think we're in agreement on this, just based on how the rest of the lines have worked out. But say it. Just say it for the camera, Jesse.
Collingwood with 24. I'm using my 3 times multiplier.
Damn it!
You've been hoodwinked by another Jesse carpet sweep. No, Collingwood with 8 for me. I do. This is probably an unconfident 8. To be honest, I actually toyed with putting Richmond as my 8 this week, just because I'm that cold on Sydney.
That would have been so much fun, though. You should have done that.
It would be fun. We haven't done fun Hawthorn in a while.
We haven't. No, we haven't. No, it's been a minute.
But no, look, I do think that, Collingwood should get the job done here. They can go 5 on the bounce. And it's a difficult one for Melbourne because 5 and 8, at the start of the season probably sounds about right. But from where they were a month in, that's a pretty good result. So difficult for Melbourne. But if they can pull this off 6 and 7, I don't think they're going to make finals, even if they do win this game. I don't think my opinion on that is going to change. But it will just add a layer of intrigue because, I do think, one of Giants, Dockers, Dogs won't make the finals at least. That's just how maths works, unless Hawthorn completely collapse. But I think Melbourne mathematically can still be in that picture right now. It's just a matter of whether they can keep the quality going for a 24-week season. And I have question marks about how they're going to fare against very good sides like Collingwood.
Fair shout. And that'll do us, Jesse. That's round 13 in the books. Send the lovely people home.
Let us know your tips down below for the round 13 confidence points. Assign your own confidence points. Let us know who you think. Let us know what you're doing to celebrate the 40 Winks Cup. Maybe tucking with a nice hot cup of cocoa. Maybe reading a book. Maybe just sleeping. All options are viable for that game. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe. Leave us a review over on Spotify as well if you do listen to our main pod over there. Enjoy the round. Hopefully you do well in your tipping as well. We'll see you for just the tips in round number 14.
Bye, everybody.